No news for New York City as deliverers vote to continue the newspaper strike that began June 30th. The distribution of almost all major New York dailies is halted. Thousands of news-hungry New Yorkers account for a flourishing business at newspaper offices as copies are sold directly over the counter. Newspapers affected have a combined daily circulation of 5 million, but during the strike, only a small number of copies are being printed to take care of over-the-counter sales. And with no funny papers, children feel the newspaper famine acutely. Over the radio, New York Mayor LaGuardia makes news himself by reading the Sunday comics.
Here's Dick Tracy. Let's see what Dick Tracy is doing. Now, you remember, we hear wet wash. Listen, baby, I know you're a maid at Van Hoosen's. I saw you there last week, and I know there's something phony about that dough. Now, when we get it, it's going to be 50-50. Okay? Then maybe you'd like some more of your laundry torn to pieces. Rip! She's ripping my laundry there, and a little delicate piece of lingerie. Now, get this picture. Here is wet wash. The doors of the laundry wagon are open. He's leaning with his back toward the wagon, and he's counting his money. 2, 3, 4,000. And the picture shows a hand of Breathless stretching out. She's got hold of that iron pot. Remember the iron pot she took from the Van Hoosen's gardener's flat to put the money in? And crash! She crashes it on his head. Knocked out. And say, children, what does it all mean? It means that dirty money never brings any luck. No, dirty money always brings sorrow and sadness and misery and disgrace.
Across the nation, Americans are buying war bonds, backing up our great new drives on Berlin and Tokyo. But here and there are lags in individual e-bond sales. America, full of the goodness of Thanksgiving and looking ahead to Christmas, must not forget those others. Must not forget these 1,800 wounded veterans in Atlanta's Lawson General Hospital, and the thousands more in many such hospitals. For them also, Thanksgiving brought turkey and all the trimmings. But this year, many had to eat Thanksgiving dinner with artificial hands and arms, and did it cheerfully. These are the men who bought for you great European and Pacific victories. They gave in flesh and blood for you a price that cannot be repaid. In their name, buy bonds for Christmas. Isn't your sacrifice easier?
At the Coliseum in Los Angeles, the Trojans trounce UCLA. Scoring in every period, Southern Cal shows great strength on the ground and in the air. Hardy completes a forward to Garland that takes them deep into the Bruins' territory. On the next play, Morris carries the ball right to the UCLA goal line. 90,000 people, the biggest football crowd of the year, watch the Trojans smother the Bruins. Held scoreless until the last quarter, UCLA launches an aerial attack with Dean Witt passing brilliantly, but it comes too late. The Trojans had already clinched their Rose Bowl bid. Scoring early and often, they roll up a 40-13 victory. Speaking of victory, remember the 6th war loan. Play taps for the Japs. Buy war bonds.
Secretary Knox, Mr. and Mrs. John L. Connor, Ted R. Gamble, and Captain Sam Jackons, who commanded the hero cruiser Atlanta. A check for $61 million is presented to the Secretary of the Navy by Chairman Connor of the new Atlanta Cruiser Committee. In a campaign launched at the city of Atlanta, money was raised to provide a new ship to take the place of the cruiser sunk in a heroic fight, while the American fleet was winning the great naval battle of Guadalcanal.
Portland, Oregon, and the launching of Swan Island Shipyard's 75th tanker, the SS Forbes Road. On hand to wield the christening bottle is Mrs. Ted R. Gamble, wife of the National Director of the 5th War Loan Drive. A tense moment. The 16,800-ton tanker takes its name from the main highway used by the Forbes expedition across western Pennsylvania in 1758. For 30 years, Forbes Road was used as the main highway between the East and the Ohio Valley. Now the name goes out on the high seas. One more ship to hasten victory. One more example of what happens to the money from your war bonds. Good luck to the Forbes Road, and keep the ships coming by backing the Fighting Fifth.
Two hospital planes dedicated at Washington. Mrs. Truman is the sponsor. The Army plane first, and an astonishing bottle for a christening. Let's try the Navy plane and watch the hammer at lower left of screen.
Now all together for the mighty 7th War Loan. In New York, ceremonies for the unveiling of the Iwo Jima statue, a tribute to the Marines from the motion picture industry. The flag that flew in victory over Mount Suribachi goes up once more. Now, America prepares to back the drive for final victory. $14 billion to finish the war.
The mighty 7th War Loan is underway, and the 3 survivors of the historic flag raising on Iwo Jima are here at the Capitol to fly that same flag. With an honor guard at attention, that tattered banner goes aloft once more. This flag and the unforgettable picture of the men who raised it on Mount Suribachi are to be the symbols of this new war loan drive. What better reminder could we have to buy more bonds? Secretary of the Treasury Morgenthau tells us the reasons we should and must.
Today, each and every one of us should dedicate himself anew to the task of doing all in his power to bring this war to complete and final victory. There is no more important way in which Americans can express concretely this determination than by buying more extra bonds in the 7th War Loan.
The Bill of Rights returns to its birthplace, New York's Sub-Treasury Building, where Congress first adopted the amendments. The document becomes the focal point of the 4th War Loan Drive. This is one of the original copies of the bill, and it is loaned to Mark Van Doren, committee chairman.
It is my great privilege as chairman of the National Book and Author War Bond Committee to accept the loan of this priceless document, the Bill of Rights, as a foundation for our activities during the 4th War Loan. This endorsement of the Bill of Rights will in due time be presented to the Library of Congress. Meanwhile, it has been loaned to our Book and Author Committee through the generosity of the donor, Mr. Balaban.
The goal of the 4th War Loan Drive is $14 billion. The Bill of Rights, after the drive is concluded, will be presented to the Library of Congress. This is the only basic American document not in the library's possession. Now the ancient parchment will be enshrined alongside the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. It was in 1791 that the Bill of Rights was drafted to safeguard the rights of the states and of the people. the Charter of America's freedom, the Bill of Rights.
Spirit of the mighty 7th War Loan, Iwo Jima and its historic Mount Suribachi flag look down on a Times Square crowd assembled for the opening of the bond drive. All eyes are focused on the 3 survivors of that immortal flag raising who are present to raise that same flag again over the statue commemorating their deeds. They raise that flag on Iwo with their blood. Repay them with your bond purchases.
President Truman receives a statue of the famous flag-raising scene on Iwo Jima, made from Joe Rosenthal's famous photograph. Colonel F.R. Hagenow presents the statue to the President for the Marine Corps, the immortal symbol of triumphant American courage that also stands for the mighty 7th War Loan, and our duty to them.
President Truman receives a model of photographer Joe Rosenthal's famed picture Flag Raising on Iwo Jima. His report to the nation is a warning to Japan.
There can be no peace in the world until the military power of Japan is destroyed. With the same completeness as was the power of the European dictators. We have no desire or intention to destroy or enslave the Japanese people. But only surrender can prevent the kind of ruin which they have seen come to Germany as a result of continued useless resistance. We are resolute in our determination. We will see the fight through to a complete and victorious finish. To that end, with the help of God, we shall use every ounce of our energy and strength.